Thank you for tuning in to this video essay on semiotics and self-reflexivity in the context of Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder. Please watch the film first, as there are spoilers in this video, including an analysis of this movie's final shot. I should also mention that this video also spoils the ending scene of Spellbound and the 39 Steps. Dial M for Murder returns the auteur to lighter fare, replete with the comedy, banal observations, and self-deprecating jokes at the expense of his own English heritage. Even though this production was an American one, it feels like a British film because of its acting style and setting. In Dial M, Hitchcock's old tricks come back into the fray, combining humor with dangerous situations and a good dose of self-reflexive analysis and mockery, and of course some pretty cool bird's-eye view shots. Hitchcock films tend to create a privileged space for its viewer, such that we as the audience member sees something significant that the characters do not see. Many films utilize this omniscient point of view, but Hitchcock uses these moments to communicate a sort of subtext of mood, like an aside or an inside joke that is a message direct from him to you. He doesn't do it so obviously in every one of his films, but take a look at these end scenes from Spellbound and the 39 Steps, and Dial M for Murder. Whose point of view is that? It's ours. Involving the audience, letting the audience participate in the picture in a way, is not original to Hitchcock, but he did become known for this. His movies tended to rely on not just knowledge of his previous work, but also a great deal of self-reference. Self-reference, or sometimes meta-filmmaking, is a component of language and art where a few things can happen. The author draws attention to the work of art itself, like filmmaking, or characters reflect on the craft of filmmaking or the writing of the film within the film itself. Self-reflexivity is a component of many of Hitchcock's most popular works, and this component manifests typically as a character that he writes into the script. This character serves as an audience surrogate, as they ask questions the audience would ask, and guides the audience as they also try to solve the mystery. Many films use an audience surrogate. The child in Jurassic Park, the character of Randy in Scream. Audience surrogates tend to serve as a conduit between the audience and the character on screen. They don't always shatter the fourth wall, but they can. Audience surrogates can also be found in many video and computer games. In some third-person environments, the player character interacts with the characters in the storyline on behalf of you, the viewer. This character is independent of you, but asks questions, provokes the other non-player characters, and otherwise behaves in a manner similar to how you would if you existed in that world as well. Games expand on this idea of the audience surrogate in ways that are changing all the time. Link in The Legend of Zelda is a mute character, as is Gordon Freeman in Half-Life 2. This type of main character is called a silent protagonist. Still, some games like Assassin's Creed and parts of Resident Evil 2 feature bits of dialogue that the character is only speaking for the benefit of you, the player. These parts are easy to identify because it occurs when the character on screen is by themselves, and there would be no other reason that the speech manifests except for our benefit. In this way, our viewpoint as a participant is a privileged one, as we get information and opportunities that none of the other characters get to have. Case in point, in a video game, we get to play again even if the character we are controlling dies. In Dial M for Murder, there are basically two audience surrogates. One, the mystery novelist Mark Halliday, played by Robert Cummings, who aside from secretly canoodling with his friend's wife, functions to debate the logic of the murder mystery. And the incomparable Chief Inspector Hubbard, portrayed expertly by John Williams, who interrupts the narrative an hour into the picture to provide the story with its much-needed detective. In one pivotal scene, Mark Halliday is in the bedroom where the suitcase of money rests while Tony and Hubbard are talking about it. The camera stays in the room with Mark. You feel like you are part of the action because we, the viewer, and this secondary character of Mark, is observing the main action together and peering into their world in a clandestine way. This is such a beautifully staged scene and idea, by the way. And later, when Mark tries to convince Tony to admit to the murder, and at the same time almost solving it, he does so in a way that elevates his character above the rest of the other characters. He knows something that none of the other characters knows. He's even more aware than Tony is, even though he is the mastermind and the lead character. Regarding Inspector Hubbard, you remember this shot? Why is he combing his mustache like that? He's not doing it for the benefit of anyone else in the room. He's basically saying, "See what I did there?" This, of course, is not Hitchcock's first self-reflexive movie, as this is not the first time a character is depicted as having a particular interest in the creation and writing of the murder mystery. In Shadow of a Doubt, the character of Herbie Hawkins, played by real-life Hollywood screenwriter Hume Cronin, is a crime enthusiast and writer who surmises on real-life crimes and forensics. Rupert Cadell's character in Rope is himself also obsessed with true crime and the moral ambiguity of murder. These characters are very interesting as they almost represent Hitchcock's own perspective. The film analyst Leslie Abramson has surmised that it is almost as if Hitchcock here is debating and challenging his own authorship in films like Dial M and Shadow of a Doubt, sparking the debate in the viewer's mind over whose perspective we are actually seeing in a movie. The omniscient viewers or the directors? Are these characters an interface for the audience to ask its own questions? Or are these characters Hitchcock speaking directly to us, as if he were our teacher? The parallels between Rope and Dial M are even more stunning when we look at the way characters are introduced and when they appear. Both stories deal with a cast tangled up in sexual quicksand, seemingly unable to contend with themselves, and both feature a late-arriving investigator who isn't a part of the group, but instead is an observer of the group. Hubbard in Dial M mirrors Rupert Cadell, who, like Inspector Hubbard, steps into the picture from our world, as if to judge the cast of characters for us. The recurring motif of author interrupting his own narrative is a component of Hitchcock films that we will continue to see as we explore more of his television programs, like Alfred Hitchcock Presents and the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, where the auteur introduces the story like Rod Serling in The Twilight Zone and comments on the events that you'll be engaged in seeing. Hitchcock's disrupting of his own narrative flow indicates, to me at least, that he understands the dialectical relationship between himself and his audience. Many contemporary directors, like Woody Allen and Quentin Tarantino, also demonstrate this acute awareness in their own movies. For want of evidence, one need look no further than Hitchcock's own on-screen cameos as evidence of a filmmaker who was constantly creating a self-reflexive work of art. Thank you for watching, and check out the links below.